Megan's last day on The View, Friday, August 6th. Um, so we have some hot topics. We have one hot topic, and it's about, vaccine hesitancy again, and whether or not people are losing friends over um, their stance on vaccinations. And so Megan says, um, you said no, you're not going to hang out with some people indoors for a while, but it's not worth losing friends over politics. And again, it's just interesting that you say it that way because it's not about politics at all. But the fact that you equate vaccination and response to the pandemic as political just shows exactly where you fall on the spectrum. You've said over and over again it shouldn't be political, but your instinct is to say this is a political thing. So it's not political. And this isn't about sitting on one side of the aisle or the other, or agreeing with one political party or another. This is about basic humanity and morality. It's about public health and safety. This is about choosing whether or not you want to help protect your neighbors, your family, your friends, your community, the public at large, or rely on, you know, selfish hand-picked information to say, you know what, I'm not going to participate and fuck all the rest of you in the meantime. So, yeah, that's not political, Megan. And then your friend, Kristen Sinema, Senator Sinema, came on. And you guys talked about, being Arizonans and, being independent thinkers, and you called her a maverick. I don't know, Megan, how much of an independent thinker you are when it's just recycling talking points from your husband's blog and the Fox News propaganda juggernaut. I don't know how independent that is. Excuse me. And as far as being a maverick, just being a contrarian is not being a maverick. And if you'll remember, they called Sarah Palin a maverick too. Not so much a free thinker, deep thinker, smart person. Anyway, um, I'm sure that people who are anti-mask and anti-vax consider themselves mavericks. I don't know that that's a great, handle you want to, hang on yourself when the majority of your maverickness is just being disagreeable. And so Senator Sinema, tries to defend her not wanting to break the filibuster by saying, in another cycle, the other party has power and they can undo anything that you've done. I understand her point. And she went on very eloquently about how the political process is supposed to work. And it, needing a 60 majority requires bipartisanship and people working together, and the way democracy is supposed to work. But what she's leaving out of that entire equation is that there's one side of the federal government, the GOP, that is not arguing in good faith. They are not acting in the best interest of the country or their constituents. They are only playing politics. They aren't actually in the business of governing. So that's where, when Sonny tries to explain to you that if you aren't not the Jim Crow law aside, because you got stuck on using the filibuster for bad, Sonny's trying to tell you that we need the voting rights passed. And the thing that the Voting Rights Act will do is that it will help ungerrymander the country so that the minority party, because there are fewer Republicans in this country that have a greater representation of the power because of the way that they have gerrymandered and lied and influenced our political system. So if we get the elections right and the votes that matter, we're less in danger of being held hostage by the GOP, which is a minority of the country. So I don't agree with you, Senator Sinema. I also thought it was interesting that she's a co-sponsor of this voting rights bill that um, I, I thought you were against, Megan. I'm confused. Unless the voting rights bill that she's talking about is a Senate's version of that's not the one that from the House. It's hard to keep up with them all, and it really irks me, just as a political aside, that whenever we're talking about an issue, the House writes a bill and the Senate writes a bill. Can't we? And they both have to pass. So if someone initiates a bill, can't we just work with that one? If it passes the House, then just send it to the Senate. Why does everybody have to author it or a separate one? It's a part of the political machine that I'll never understand. Seems like a giant waste of time. Work on something else. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed in the country. You don't have to have competing legislation. So that was Senator Sinema. And then you did the most millennial thing ever and brought your mom to your last day at work. So she was very gracious. She also said she's very glad that you're choosing family over more work and that she'll get to see her granddaughter more. But then you said she's moving to Rome to take this ambassadorship. So I don't understand how that's seeing her granddaughter more if you're taking time off work and she's leaving the country. And also might say something about your relationship. We had a goodbye from former Representative Paul Ryan, a total schmuck who you just love. Of course you do. He's a liar and a cheat just like the rest of them. He just got out sooner. So he didn't have to deal with Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Madison Cawthorn and all that bullshit in the GOP House. And you got a lovely montage, which somehow managed to be have a considerable amount of time taken up by your father, who we know got you this job, right? He lobbied Whoopi and the executive producers and thought this would be a good format for you. Well, I'll tell you what, your dad was wrong. This is a terrible format for you because you're a terrible listener and you're not a good conversationalist. You're just an opinion. You're a barking opinion, and then you just want to wander away. You don't actually want to have a conversation or actually hear someone else's point of view because you're an independent thinker. As you said in the beginning, as an Arizonan, you think what you think and that's it. Well, that's not really very evolved of you. And what else did we learn in that montage? You screamed a lot. You know, you have lots of uses for your hair. And yeah, that's about it. I didn't really glean anything new because I certainly haven't been watching all 4 years of you. But when I did start watching, I did find you highly annoying and terrible at this job. But now you're gone. So as far as the future of this channel, we will still continue to monitor what Ms. McCain is up to, whether she becomes a real housewife of DC or, joins her husband at the, echo chamber of Fox News. Who knows? But we will also continue to monitor people of the same ilk. And I'm sure we'll be nominating Megans of the day on a fairly regular basis. So we might not be back Monday. We'll find out, but we'll definitely be back next week. And, bye, Megan, from your tenure on The View. I don't think any of those ladies were sad to see you go.